So the use left.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
I guess I mean. Going back.
So we'll be discussing from the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7. All of you have a copy of Bhagavad Gita? Or you don't have? It's not approved. Is there any more copies?
There are more copies in the bag. There's one more.
So we're discussing from chapter 7,
Which
verse number 15 onwards. Oh. Yes, sorry. Verse number 14 onwards. So 7th chapter, verse number 14. I'll share the screen for those who are online. Okay, so recite the verse. Devi Esha Gunamayi
Deviyesha Gunamayi
Mama Maya Duratyaya
Maya Duratya
Mameva Ye Prapadyante
Mameva Ye Prapadyante
Maya Metam Tarantite
Maya Metam Tarantite
Devi
Maya Tinta Padantite.
Deviyesha Gunamayi
Mama Maya Duratyaya
Maya
Devi
Duratya
Esha
Mameva
Guramani.
Ye Prapadyante
Mameva
Mamaya Viratya.
Tarantite
Maya
Mame Ye Prapadante. Maya Netam Padante.
Devi Esha Gunamayi Mama Maya Duratyaya Mameva Ye Prapadyante Maya Metam Tarantite. Someone else would like to try? Devi Esha Gunamayi Mama Maya Duratyaya Mameva Ye Prapadyante
Mame Ye Prapadante.
Maya Metam Tarantite. Devi Esha Gunamayi Mama Maya Duratyaya Mameva Ye Prapadyante Maya Metam Tarantite.
Devi Usha Gunamayi
Devi Esha Gunamayi
Yaduratya
Mama Maya Duratyaya
Meva Ye Prapadyate
Mameva Ye Prapadyante
Maya Metam
Maya
Netam Padante.
Devi Usha Gunamayi
Devi Esha Gunamayi
Maya
Daya
Padante.
Mameva Ye
Maya
Maya Meta
Padante.
Tarantite.
Mayam Vitam Padante.
Devi Usha Gunamayi
Devi Esha Gunamayi
Mama Maya Duratya
Mama Maya Duratyaya
Meva Ye
Mameva Ye
Mameva Ye प्रदन्तन्ते
मायामेकान्तरन्ति ते देवी एषा गुणमयी मम माया दुर्जया
तां ये प्रपद्यन्ते मया में तां तुदन्ते
मायामेकान्तरन्ति ते. Would like to translate? Oh, you want to read translation?
Translation you like to read?
Consisting of the three modes of material nature is difficult to overcome, but those who have surrendered unto me can easily cross beyond it.
Again, a very famous verse from the Bhagavad Gita. But before we begin, does anyone remember, recall points from the previous class? What had we spoken in the previous class? What are the previous verses about?
Krishna says the whole world does not know me.
The whole world does not know me. Okay.
He also spoke about the people by three modes: goddess, passion, and ignorance.
Goodness, passion, and ignorance. Yes. So the whole world does not know me because they are deluded by these three modes. Okay. What else do we remember from the previous class? So you're discussing, yes.
And independent.
Independent. Who's independent?
Krishna.
Krishna is independent. Okay. Krishna is independent. All our activities are controlled by the three modes of material nature. Okay. So we discussed largely last time about how to understand Krishna is not possible by someone who is under the influence of these three modes. But if you have to understand Krishna, that means we have to purify ourselves, purify our existence. That means becoming free from the three modes. Three modes are what? Goodness, passion, ignorance. Goodness means sattva-gun, passion means raja-gun, and ignorance is tama-gun. So what are these three gunas? Because there are some new people now, so we'll discuss a little bit about the three gunas. So three gunas, they are like ropes. They bind us in this material world. Like the goodness mode is there, it binds us, which means there are certain characteristics you will see in some people. You can tell by looking at those characteristics that this person is in the mode of goodness. Similarly, there are symptoms for the mode of passion and symptoms for the mode of ignorance. For example, someone who is influenced by ignorance, how will he behave? He will be lazy, sleepy, intoxicated. So these are some characteristics of person in the mode of ignorance. Right? Similarly, who is in the mode of passion, unke kya symptoms hai? What are symptoms? Huh? Workaholics. So they are greedy, very passionate. They are very centered around work. I want to work very hard. Why? So that they can enjoy, achieve a goal. Okay. So they work very, very hard because of that. So that means you can say that they're influenced under the influence of mode of passion. And mode of goodness, what are the symptoms?
Very
Calm, composed, knowledgeable. They can see things in the right perspective as they are. If someone in the mode of passion cannot see things as they are because they're blinded because of their lust and greed and anger. Right? But someone who's in the mode of goodness can see things as they are. So Krishna is saying in the previous verses we saw that the whole world cannot know me. Why? Because they are under the influence of these three modes. To understand Krishna is not easy. So it is very simple. Nowadays, if we talk about different pastimes from, let's say, Ramayana, Mahabharata, people find it very difficult to relate to also. Like sometimes they say, Are Lord Ram's father was who? Dashrath Maharaj. Dashrath Maharaj had given a promise to his wife, right? And because of that promise only he asked Lord Ram to go to the forest for 14 years. And modern day people say, अरे क्या जरूरत था? ऐसे थोड़ी कोई जाता है. मुझे कोई बोलेगा तो मैं जाऊंगा ही नहीं. It's so difficult to relate, you know. Kshatriyas are like, you know, people of word. If they said something, they will do it. That is a principle. Now in Kali Yuga, people are so dull. They have no sense of values. So they say, अरे क्या जरूरत था? अभी उसने बोला तो मैं जाऊंगा. मैं अपने बेटे को बोलूं जाने को. So how can we understand Krishna or God and his activities, which are so pure? Simple value system is not there in today's life. So therefore, Krishna is saying that all of this, you know, three modes of material nature, they are influencing people in general, and therefore they cannot understand me because they're deluded by these three modes. So today's verse, which we're discussing, Krishna is here saying that ये जो three modes है material nature के, this is my energy, and because people are under the influence of my energy, they cannot, you know, surpass the material nature, and they can only do so by surrendering to me. If they surrender to me, then easily they'll be able to overcome this material nature, which is very, very, very powerful. So by our own strength, if we try, I'll just surpass somehow, cross over, it will not be possible. But if we surrender to Krishna, then Krishna will very easily, you know, help us overcome this influence of material nature. So it's like kind of we are haunted, like how a haunted person may behave. He's completely under the influence of a ghost. So he thinks, no, I'm right only. Or sometimes a madman is there. So he may behave in a very different way, not understanding that what kind of influence he is in. Similarly, in this world, everyone is like that, haunted. But then they have to come out of this influence. But that can only happen if we surrender to Krishna. That is what Krishna is saying here. So he's saying what? The divine energy of mind consisting of the three modes of material nature is difficult to overcome. But those who have surrendered unto me can easily cross beyond it. So someone who surrenders to Krishna can actually easily cross over the material energy, the influence of Maya, the influence of this illusory energy. So it's very simple to understand. Let's say there is a child and he is not obedient, he does not follow what the parents say, he runs away from home. And after running away from home, then he is loitering in the streets. And then one day he realizes that he made a big mistake of leaving his home because now he has no shelter, no food, nothing proper. He thought that he'll become a big person and he'll live independently. So realizing one day that he did not take the right decision, he goes back to his parents. He goes back to his father. What will the father say? Javi. Will the father say like that? What will the father say? Kali Yuga, anyone can say anything. Hmm? Can say anything. So generally we know that no matter what the child is like, the parent will always say, it's okay, come back, now live with me. So similarly, we are also like children of Krishna. So although we would have rebelled and come here in this material world, trying to enjoy, so-called happiness, which is not really there. And we'll see in the coming verses of the kind of people who do not surrender to Krishna and why they don't surrender to Krishna. So Krishna will still accept us, just that we have to surrender to him. So what does it mean to surrender? What does it mean to surrender? What do we have to do? Keep Krishna as the center of whatever we are doing. Okay. Anything else? Give our heart and soul to Krishna. Okay, that is a nice way to put it. Yes, Ruth.
I am nothing, he is everything.
I am nothing, he is everything. Wonderful. Sarvasva tomar charane sampriya parachito maradhari Tumi to Thakur, Tumhara Kukura, Boliya Jana Hamare. It's a very beautiful song. Sarvasya Tomar, you are everything. Charane Sampya, I surrender unto your lotus feet. Tumi to Thakur, Tumhara Kukur. Kukur means I'm your dog. Bengali. Tumhara Kukur, Boliya Jana Hamare. And it's a very beautiful song. It goes on like that. So here the devotees praying that, oh Lord, you are everything. I'm nothing. And I'm just like a dog. And like a dog, I'll sit outside the house, guarding the house. And then whatever people eat, the food, the prasad, the remnants that are left behind, I'll take that, and that will be my sustenance. So this is surrender, trying to understand that actually Krishna is everything, like you said, and I'm nothing. That's why how we collected the song. So yes, that is true. So yes, Krishna is everything and I'm nothing, right? So if we understand that, we surrender to the Lord, then we will be able to overcome this. It's like you are in the sea. Can you cross beyond it? I mean, on your own strength, you will try and swim, but how much can you swim? It's not possible to swim and cross across the ocean, right? You need help. You need a boat. When the boat comes, you can go onto it and then you can cross across the ocean, right? Very easily. But otherwise, you cannot do it. So similarly, if a person is bound, his hands are tied up, who can open that person? Somebody else. But his hands are also tied and that person cannot help. But if his hands are untied, then he can untie, right, us. So similarly, we need the Lord who is beyond the influence of the three modes, or his pure devotee who is his representative, who also is not bound up. Because only someone who is not bound up can untie someone who is bound up, like that. Okay. So therefore, surrender means to try and follow the instructions of Krishna or his pure representative. So the spiritual master or guru or Krishna, like he says in the Bhagavad Gita, if we try and follow as it is, whatever Krishna is saying, then easily we'll be able to cross beyond this ocean. Although it's very, very huge, right? Because then we are on the boat of which is going to take us across this whole material ocean, like that. So, okay. And another point that Prabhupada mentioned, the purport is that Krishna says very clearly here that Mam eva ye prapadyante. Mam means me. Krishna is not saying surrender to anyone else, right? So no demigods, Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma. No, Krishna is making it very, very clear that surrender unto me, right? In this material world, people surrender to so many people. They surrender to some politician, to their boss in the company. Surrender means they're trying to follow, right? Just like we discussed now. Krishna, we are supposed to follow what Krishna or his pure representative said. But if we try and follow everything that our boss says, or the politicians say, or someone else, then we are actually surrendering to them, and we are very happy and proud about it, right? Because we feel ki देखो नौकरी मिल गया, right? Now I learn so much, and what will I do all my life? Surrender to this boss of mine. Do as I say, as he says. So real surrender is to surrender to the Supreme Lord. Like there is a story. Once a person, he wanted to surrender to the topmost person. So in the village he saw that this village ka mukhya is there. So he said that you are like in charge of this village. I want to surrender to you because you are the topmost person. So he said yes, okay. Then another day he saw that this mukhya also someone comes from the city, some tax collector or some minister, and the mukhya also pays obeisances to him, pays respects to him, and things like that. So he said, "Arey, मुझे लगा ये सबसे topmost है. That's why I surrendered to him. But then इसके ऊपर भी कोई है." Then he went to that person. He said, "Oh, I saw that even this village in charge, he's paying respect to you, he's paying tax to you. So I would like to serve you because you're the topmost person." So then he went to serve him. But then he saw that this minister from the city, he is also going and paying respects to the king of the country. And so he said that I thought this minister is everyone, like he's a topmost person. But now I see that this king is the topmost person. He's the head of the whole country. So why not serve him? So then he went to the king. He said, King, I want to become your servant. He said, yes, okay. Then one day he saw that king also, a Brahmana came, a devotee came. So he was paying respects to the Brahmana. And he said, oh, Brahmana, please come and sit on my chair. And he offered a lot of respect and things. So he thought that the king was the topmost person. But then he saw that this devotee, Brahmana, is even greater than the king. So then he went to the Brahmana and he said, I want to serve you. So he said, okay, come serve me. Then he saw that this king, this Brahmana, this devotee, every day he goes there to the temple and offers his respects to the Supreme Lord. And he's worshipping the Lord every day. Then he thought that, oh, now I know that actually Krishna, God is a supreme person. He is the topmost. Everyone is paying respects to him. So why not serve him? So that is the idea. That we are trying to serve so many people in this material world, whether it's someone in our college, school, office, family. But then that service will not really satisfy us, right? If we have to be completely satisfied, then we have to serve the supreme personality of God. That is how we will also be happy. Because when we serve the topmost person, we get all the benefits, that the topmost person enjoys. The servant is there of a prime minister of the country. The servant also enjoys a lot of facilities because he's serving the topmost person in the country. Similarly, when we serve the Supreme Lord, we will also enjoy all the facilities. And Krishna actually gives a promise in the Bhagavad Gita that anyone who surrenders to me, I will give complete protection. I will preserve what they have, carry what they lack, like that. And I'll protect in all circumstances. So Krishna is giving a promise also. Just surrender to me and then I'll protect you in every way. Right? So this surrender becomes possible, like Krishna says here. I mean, we can overcome the influence of the three modes by surrendering to Krishna. Otherwise, it's very, very difficult. Right? So Krishna can actually pick us out from this deep ocean. Otherwise, on our strength, if we try and fight with material nature, it will be very difficult. Right? It's because everywhere around us is the illusory energy. And it makes us think in so many different ways. Can you give us example? How is the influence of illusory energy affecting us? Any example? Okay, so we sleep till late because of mode of ignorance, and we feel happy about it, right? Happiness is in sleeping. Okay, food we eat, the kind of food stuff which is very spicy, with passion, and kind of like that. Okay, my question is, how do we get illusion in this material world? Thinking something to be real, but actually they are not. Can I give an example? Got the question? If we try and follow a system or do certain things in life, thinking it will give us something, it promises us something, but actually it's an illusion.
Politics.
Politics, what about
I think they will give you, but they do for their own.
it? Yes, the politicians come out on a rally and they say, we'll give you everything, whatever you want, and then just vote for us. But actually, then are they so much selfless? They want to serve the people? No, they are doing it for their own self, right? For their own benefit. So one of the qualities of a leader is that he's supposed to be selfless, thinking about others, right? About the welfare of others. That is how you become a leader. Right? But if you are so self-conscious and you want to just accumulate a lot of wealth, enjoy a position in society and so on, then you will not be able to do any good thing to anyone. So, so yes, that is kind of illusion.
So, I was actually hearing this yesterday. So I was saying that He's the example of an ass. So how the washerman is loading 1 ton, 2 ton, 3 ton on the ass, and the ass is thinking, oh, I have to work very hard. Only then I'll get the grass. And like proper, like the fool doesn't know the grass is everywhere. It's and when the washerman goes to the river to wash clothes, he removes all the clothes and he lets loose the ass. And वहाँ पे patch of grass is there. We find that patch of grass, but otherwise it's also available. But he's thinking because I work so hard, so we are also like that. Yes.
Delusion, huh?
Have the choices. Was telling you what if I do this and what I do.
What is in it for me?
What benefit for me then? They are a training of this.
What is in it for me? The training for it. Okay. Yes. So, very wonderful example which you gave. Also one of the examples that is depict one of the characteristics of the next verse. Where the donkey is working so hard, but he doesn't know everywhere there is grass. I don't need to work so hard. But he thinks no, only if the master gives me grass, then I'll get grass. Similarly, in this world, Prabhupada would speak of economic development. Everyone is worrying about economic development. But actually, all that we need is some food to eat. If somehow we grow, cultivate our own food and eat that, that is all that we need. That is economic development. Economic development will all be managed if we have food and some milk, and that is we can be happy. It's too cold. Yes, Mother.
So many parents. So parents is really interested in Bhagavad Gita, interested in chanting, but when Krishna, they are only asking इसका ये प्रॉब्लम है उसको ठीक रखो ये प्रॉब्लम चल रहा है हो जाए so attracted towards Krishna consciousness, but back of the mind all the time this is only money. So even the person is interested in Krishna consciousness, but the entanglement is so much, like Maya Jat.
Yes.
The insecurity, the fear, and then the parents feel ये problem हो जाएगा, वो सब ठीक हो जाएगा, but then कुछ नया आ जाता है, and now they've turned 60, 70, still in the illusion कि ये ठीक हो जाएगा, फिर हम भक्ति करना.
Because वो अगर ठीक हो गया ना,
कभी नहीं ठीक होएगा.
so ठीक हो गया तो फिर गया surrender. That is why कभी ठीक नहीं होता.
I just keep getting this question that when will that time come that these people, even including myself, when we'll go in front of the Lord and say, what about our relationship? All the time I'm praying about my relatives, but then that time is lost. The human form is gone.
Yes. So that is what Prabhupada called as extended selfishness. Me and then mine, my relatives, my everyone. Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
So sometimes like you mentioned that we should surrender to the Supreme, and that is only Krishna. And you also mentioned about Shiva and the Brahma. So they are the demigods,
Right.
but these are the three Putri, right? Then how can you say that only the Supreme is Krishna and not Shiva? Because I have read a lot of things about Shiva. So Shiva chants Rama's name,
Right.
and it happens other way around. So I feel that both are the same. That is what, of course, they are a part of the same system.
So what scripture says, like you also said, Lord Shiva also chants the name of Lord Ram. And just I think last week when we were discussing this, and Lord Shiva says that Aradhanam Sarvesham Vishnu Aradhanam Param, that of all the kinds of worship, the worship of Lord Vishnu is the best. Lord Shiva says that. And even Lord Brahma says the same. Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha. So Lord Brahma says that the Param Ishwar, the supreme controller or Ishwar is Krishna. Like that. So scriptures accept that. And they also don't say that we are the topmost. In fact, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita very clearly that Mata Parataram Nanyat, that beyond me there is no supreme truth, like that. And then he says that I am the seed giving father of everyone. Krishna says that. So we are following what Krishna is saying and what the Vedic scriptures are saying. So as far as Lord Shiva is concerned, he is surely not any ordinary living entity. So there are three categories. So there is Jiva Tattva, which is all of us. We are all Jivas. Then there is Shambhu Tattva, which is Lord Shiva, which is above the Jiva Tattva. And Brahma is also actually Jiva Tattva. So Lord Brahma also is a living entity like us only, but then he is a very powerful living entity. But Lord Shiva's position is even higher than Lord Brahma, because he is like Lord Vishnu only, but then he comes in touch with material nature. So therefore his position is above living entities, Jiva Tattva, but at the same time he is not Vishnu Tattva. Vishnu Tattva is all the forms of Lord Vishnu, like that. So Lord Shiva's position is very, very special in that sense. He is above the living entities. He's just like Vishnu Tattva, but then he comes in touch with material nature. So his position is different. So in the Brahma Samhita that is explained, it is just like milk, which is, when you convert it into curd, so that curd is milk only. It comes from milk. At the same time, it cannot be milk. So Lord Shiva's position is like that. He is Lord Vishnu only, but then he is in touch with material nature, so it's like curd. But then at the same time, he is not milk, like that. So that is how it is.
I have read about Shiva that he is not connected to the material world. That's the reason he's away from everything.
So, like you said, there are Brahma, Vishnu, and Lord Shiva, and they are in charge in the material world of the three modes: goodness, passion, ignorance. So, Sattva Guna is there, Rajagun is there, Tamagun is there. So, Sattva Guna in charge is Lord Vishnu, and Rajagun in charge is Lord Brahma, and then Tamagun in charge is Lord Shiva. So, as far as this material world is concerned, in this material world, these three, they take care of the different modes of material nature. They are in charge of that mode of material nature. At the same time, they are not. So Prabhupada writes in the purport, you will read, he says very clearly that Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva cannot get us free from the influence of material nature. If someone surrenders to Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, they may not be able to take them out of the influence of material nature. That only Lord Vishnu can do, because he is the source of material energy. Maya or illusory energy is Krishna's energy. So he is not under the influence of the illusory energy, right? Like that. And in fact, any sincere follower of Lord Shiva or Lord Brahma or any demigod for that matter, if they go to him, they will also redirect them to Lord Krishna, right? Because they also want that everyone surrenders to the Supreme Lord. Just like you said, Lord Shiva is also chanting names of Lord Ram. So in the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is said that Vaishnavanam Yatha Shambhu, that of all the Vaishnavas, the topmost Vaishnava is Lord Shiva. Right, like that. And there's a Rudra Gita, which is again a glorification sung by Lord Shiva to Lord Krishna. Like that. So in the scriptures, that is how the description is. So we follow like that. Is that okay? We can discuss more later. That is. Any other questions you had in relation to this?
I feel that Shiva and Brahma are not demigods because like Indradev, all the other people are coming under demigods. As per what I have read, I'm not very sure because this is all as per what I've read. So Shiva is a single entity and he doesn't depend. I feel that he doesn't depend on the material world. And that is what I have read about him because he don't care about like what is happening around him. That's the reason he was away from all this materialistic world because he wanted to find like yeah. So like he's not attached to the material world.
At the same time, you will see there are instances like, of course, I mean it is in the Srimad Bhagavatam, where you see that Lord Shiva also gets attracted in one sense. It is a form of Lord Vishnu only, Mohini, right, like that. So you will see such instances. Even Lord Brahma gets attracted to his own daughter, like that. So in the purport, if you read here, Prabhupada actually says that both Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma are under the influence of the material energy. So of course their position is something we cannot even understand, because they are very, very high above us. Right? At the same time, they are not the ones who can actually deliver us from the modes of material nature, like that. So it is only surrender to Krishna that will actually help us. So other places also where we read in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna very clearly says, if you worship them, any demigod for that matter, then you will go to them. They will not go to Krishna. All paths don't lead to the same end. Every path is different. If you go to buy a ticket for Delhi, you will reach Delhi. You will not reach some other place. So worshipping different demigods is taking you to those demigods. So their position is surely not like ordinary other, demigods. It's much, much higher, right? Because Brahma is literally creating,
But it is said
everything.
that, Brahma changes.
Yes. Brahma is like a position.
Yeah.
So Brahma also changes. And if there is no qualified Brahma, then Lord Vishnu only comes as Brahma, like that. So therefore, these are not ordinary positions, right? Because if someone is literally responsible for the creation of the whole world, he is not an ordinary person.
We can also become Brahma.
Yeah, we can also become Brahma. But because Brahma is actually Jiva Tattva, like living entity, but a very, very powerful living entity. And they are all in fact given these responsibilities by the Supreme Lord only, right, to run the world. So they're actually devotees of the Lord. Because just like there is a whole country and there are so many different departments in the country, right? There is finance department, there is some other department, this department, that. Everyone has a head, right? And everyone is working together so that the government can run smoothly, right? So similarly, in this world also, for things to work, there are department heads, right? They're in charge for different things. Some are in charge of creation, some are in charge of destruction, like that, for maintenance. But then beyond this material world, like Krishna describes that there is my abode, which is eternal. Right? So if one has to go to that spiritual world, which is beyond this, then Krishna can actually take you there. Like that. Does that answer? You want to ask?
One small example. Again, something I heard in class. So there was this. I think some German came to India to study about God, find out who's God. He heard that India was Bhagavad. So he came and he went to different temples. So he first went to temple of Mother Durga. So he saw the form of Mother Durga with Trishul and uh, swords and shield and so many things. She's not God. She's a warrior. She's not God. That was his thought. Then he went to temple of somebody said, "Kare Maha Ganesh ji ka mandir hai, Ganesh ji ka mandir." So then he learned that Ganesha is son of Mother Durga. So obviously he also cannot be the supreme God. Then he went to different some other temples, and then finally landed up in temple of Lord Shiva. So there he saw, apart from the Shivling, there was a deity of Lord Shiva meditating. So he thought, oh, he's meditating on who? Right. So he's also not the supreme Lord. Then finally he went to a Krishna temple. There he saw, Lord Krishna is happily playing on a flute. Like this is Supreme Personality of God, simply enjoying. He has no other business, no other work. He's simply enjoying. This is the Supreme Personality of God. So we can, and scriptures also describe, like Brahma Samhita Prabhuji was saying. So there, see, Krishna is Bhakta Vatsal. He may give so much respect to his devotees, right? Like Arjuna was literally putting his feet on Krishna's shoulder. Doesn't mean that Krishna is now junior to Arjuna, right? So likewise, Lord Ram, he also may chant Shiva's name. He may also give so much respect. He may worship Shiva. Doesn't mean that he is junior to Shiva, right? Lord Shiva is actually, and Lord Shiva clarifies this in Padma Purana, like Prabhuji quoted so many verses right now. And we, we need to understand from scriptures what these personalities, Lord Shiva is saying, what Lord Brahma is saying, what Lord Krishna is saying, what all three of them, when it comes to giving the actual tattva, what are they saying? They may give respect, they may worship each other, but to help us understand the real Siddhanta, what are these personalities saying in the scriptures? So it's very, very clear. Lord Shiva says, Aradhanam Sarvesham Vishnu Aradhanam. Then Brahmaji is saying, Ishvara Parama Krishna. In fact, in the same prayers, Lord Brahma says, Yes, say Kanishwasita Kalam Thavalambya, Jivanti Lom Vilaja Jagadanna Natha, Vishnu Mahani Yasya Kala Vishesho, Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham. So he's saying the Mahavishnu who is lying on the causal ocean, from whose pores millions of universes are coming, right? And that Vishnu is just a Kala Vishesho. It's one of the expansions of the expansion of the expansion. Right? Kala means one of the smallest portions. So Krishna is the original personality of Godhead. From him there are multiple expansions. So many Vishnu forms are coming. Typically, we think Krishna is one of the Vishnu incarnations, but actually, Krishna is the avatari, right? The original personality of God, from whom all the avatars come, like that. So, Vishnu is one of the expansions, and from one of the expansions of that Mahavishnu is actually Lord Shiva, which Prabhuji explained that Lord Shiva is not Jiva Tattva, not Vishnu Tattva, he is in between Shambhu Tattva, like that. So, one of those expansions is Lord Shiva, and with a specific purpose, so that he can actually get in touch with Maya Devi and the entire creation can happen. So there's a lot of details. I mean, right now it's थोड़ा ऊपर से जाएगा, but there are a lot of details given in the scriptures. In fact, Bhrigu Muni once had the same doubt. Right? There's an entire story. Bhrigu Muni wanted, all the sages were discussing who is greater. Brahmaji is greater, or Shiva is great, or Vishnu is great. So they appointed Bhrigu Muni to find out. So Bhrigu Muni, his son of Brahma, he went to Lord Brahma and he did not pay obeisances. Pitaji was at the पैर छूते हैं ना, तो he did not, and I mean that's the culture. हमारा culture अभी वो नहीं है शायद, but that was the very strict culture. So he did not pay obeisances. So immediately Brahma was angry, like ready to curse him also. So Bhrigu Muni said he's under influence of anger, he's not disciplined. Then he went to Lord Shiva, and Lord Shiva, his brother, because Lord Shiva is also son of Brahma, so his brother. So Lord Shiva came to embrace Bhrigu Muni. नहीं दूर हटो ये इतना सब सांप लगा हुआ है, ऐसा ashes है body में, मेरे को नहीं चाहिए, you are impure, right? So immediately Lord Shiva was Ashutosh, easily pleased, easily angered. Immediately got angered, ran with the Trishul behind him. Right? And then finally Bhrigu Muni entered Vaikuntha. So Vaikuntha, he entered, and Lord Vishnu was lying on the serpent bed, and immediately he went and with his feet kicked the chest of Vishnu. So Lord Vishnu said, "Oh, great sage, your feet must have gotten hurt. My chest is so hard." Right? So he understood, and Krishna or Lord Vishnu still carries the footprint of Bhrigu Muni. Even on the deity form of the Lord, that footprint is there. So then he concluded that yes, Lord Vishnu is the supreme out of the three. But that even that Vishnu is just a Kala Vishesho of Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham.
There were incremental agitations. First Bhrigu Muni went, he just by his manners, not offering obeisances, he treated Lord Brahma like that. Then with Lord Shiva, he's with words, there was a kind of an insult. But with Lord Vishnu, it was physical. Kicked him only directly. But still Lord Vishnu was not agitated. Right? So like that you will see in scriptures, all these examples are there. So there is no competition. Kaun bada hai. Everyone is working nicely and everyone is serving the Supreme Lord. Okay, it's already 1:30. This is discussed one verse. Of course, in this very purport, if you read, there are many more references given. Like here, there is a reference from the Sveteshwatra Upanishad. Tameva Viditva, or freedom is possible only by understanding Krishna. And Prabhuji was giving a story of a person who goes to every temple and says, "Oh, Krishna is not doing anything. He's just simply enjoying." Scriptures also say that. Natasya karam karanam cha vidate, nachasya tamo. So it says that the Supreme Lord has no work to be done. He's not that, I just like we have a job, we have to do something. The Supreme Lord has no work. Everything is working as by his energy, just by his desire. He doesn't have to go work and work very hard. It's just automatically working just by his thought, by his desire. All his different energies are working, even including this illusory energy, which is there.
You want to maybe on this verse only, we can maybe discuss 10 minutes. Two very so I don't remember the chai yesterday. So you can describe exactly what Maya is.
Okay, so we'll just discuss a little more maybe from the Brahma Samhita.
On Shivratri Day, we heard a lecture from one of the spiritual masters, and similar question was asked to him, and he said, "So, when Mahavishnu wanted to create material world, right? Mahavishnu glance that comes out, that energy mixes with Mahatattva, right?
Yeah.
That's how material universe is created. So that glance, which is Mahavishnu's energy, is Shiva. So
Technical.
So you got jaundice? Huh? You got jaundice. It's all yellow.
So this is from the Brahma Samhita, which is prayers offered by Lord Brahma. So he says, Shrishti Sthiti Pralaya Sadhana Shakti Rekha Chayeva Yasya Bhuvanani Vivarti Durga Ichhanu Rupam Api Yasya Chachestatesha Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Vajami. The external potency, Maya, who is the nature of the shadow of the Chit potency, is worshipped by all people as Durga, the creating, preserving and destroying agency of this mundane world. I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, in accordance with whose will Durga conducts herself. So this is saying what? That everything, Srishti, Suti, Pralaya, this is being conducted by the external energy, which is Durga. So, and then Lord Brahma's ending ends saying, I adore the Lord Govinda, by whose will Durga conducts herself. So that means everything that is happening, even by the material energy, Durga, is happening by the will of Lord Krishna. Right? By the will of, so it's like, she is like the shadow, right? So when something moves, you see the shadow also moving, right? So it's similarly like that, Mother Durga is actually working by the direction and will of the Supreme Lord, right? Not independently. That is what this says. There's another verse of
So this is almost like Durga. The word Durga comes from the word Durga. You know what is Durga? Fort, yes. So this world or this material universe is like a fort and fortress, and Durga is the in charge jailer. So she is therefore having so many weapons etc. in her hand. So she is the jailer, and her policy is jail में कैसा रहता है कोई misbehave किया तो उसको give it back. Somebody does something nice or reward. So tit for tat is how she deals like that. But anyone who surrenders to Krishna, the account shifts from Durga to Krishna. Right? And now Krishna takes care, and he basically sees what is beneficial for this person to get out of this jail. Right? Durga fortress is actually a jail. She's the jailer. So how to get you out of the jail is Krishna's concern.
I also heard that that when you worship Shiva, he gives you everything because he's very kind. So he gives everything. But Krishna, since he's our father, he knows what is good for us and what is bad. So he'll only give you what you need.
And we see like that in scriptures also. So many people, they worship Lord Shiva. Like Ravan worshipped Lord Shiva. Hiranyakashipu worshipped Lord Brahma. Right? So they were given what they wanted. Hiranyakashipu wanted what? So many boons, right? Actually, first he said, I want to be immortal. I don't want to die. And Lord Brahma said, even I am not immortal. How can I give you immortality? So then he asked so many benedictions. I cannot die in the day, in the night, up, down, here, there, everything. He thought now I'm immortal. But then he was killed. Similarly, we see that this Ravana also was a great learned person, and he worshipped Lord Shiva. And even at the battle time, so Mother Durga was saying that he's a devotee, go and protect him. She told Lord Shiva, but he said that now Ram has come to kill. It's not possible to protect. So even demons worship the demigods or Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, or even other demigods, but they cannot be protected. Rakhe Krishna mare Krishna rakhe ke. Right? If Krishna desires that someone has to be killed, no one can protect him. If Krishna protects someone, then no one can kill him. Like that.
Like
Bhasmasur, so many stories are there. Bhasmasur was another, demon. So he was worshipping Lord Shiva, and he wanted a benediction that whomsoever I keep my hand upon, that person should blast. So he was doing severe tapasya to please
offering
Lord
his own
Shiva.
flesh.
Yeah, at the end he was going to cut his own flesh and offer in the
But he
fire.
was already doing it.
Doing it.
He's offering, cutting his own flesh and in the fire, offering it to Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva pareshan was like, "Kya hai? Kaun hai?" But he looked at he was finally about to cut his head. Then Shiva, out of disgust, he appeared. Bhai, kya chahiye terko?
So then Lord Shiva appeared, and then he said, "What do you want?" He said that I want this benediction. If I keep my hand on someone, that person should blast. So he said, "Okay, given." Then he thought, "Abhi kya karu? Iska test karna padega." So he wanted to test on Lord Shiva only. So this is demoniac mentality. You worship someone, and then that person only you want to cause harm. So then Lord Shiva was running away because he was if he keeps the hand, then Narad Muni came. Then
No,
the dance
Vishnu.
of dance.
Lord Vishnu came.
Lord Vishnu only came, right? And he
As a
said
small
that
boy, something, and he said, he actually wanted to kill Lord Shiva and possess Mother Durga. That was the idea. That was his idea. So so Vishnu came as a child. He's like, इनके सारे goods fail हो रहे, पहले test तो कर लो.
So he tested it. So Lord Vishnu actually tricked him, and he said that you keep the hand on yourself and see at least if it's working or not. He kept, and it worked. And he killed himself like that. So there are many such instances we will see in the scriptures. So even when Hiranyakashipu was killed, then he told Lord Vishnu told Lord Brahma that don't give such benedictions. It makes my task difficult. So just to keep the promises of Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, Lord Krishna also, follows certain things because they have given a promise. It has to be, kept intact like that. And there is this last verse we'll discuss and we'll stop. This is again the next verse from the Brahma Samhita. So here it is mentioned. Shiram yatha dadati vikara vishesha yogat sanjayate nahi tata pritak asti heto. Yah sambhutam api tatha samupaiti karya govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. Just as milk is transformed into curd by the action of acids, but yet the effect of curd is neither same as nor different from its cause, milk. So I adore the primeval Lord, Govinda, of whom the state of Shambhu is a transformation for the performance of the work of destruction. So here it is being said that Shambhu is actually a transformation of Lord Govinda only. But that transformation has happened for the purpose of destruction. Like that. So therefore, Lord Shiva's position is not ordinary, even higher above Lord Brahma.
Creation is a difficult task. Destruction is even more simpler. What is really difficult is maintenance.
Okay, all right. So we will stop here. This was one of the most famous verses from the Bhagavad Gita, and the next few verses are also very famous, but we'll discuss that next time. The next couple of verses talks about who are the people who do not surrender to Krishna. 4 kinds of people, and the verse after that talks about 4 kinds of people who surrender to Krishna. Right? So very interesting to hear and read about that. Okay, we'll discuss that in the next session. Any other questions or thoughts? Anything else? Yeah.
Actually, you mentioned about the 3 modes. In that first one was goodness. So goodness is like surrendering to Krishna.
So there are characteristics of each mode. So like we discussed, so goodness, it leads to different things. So it leads to knowledge, which means you will know things in the right perspective. Okay, because like we were discussing in the beginning, now people are illusioned in the material world. So they're working very hard. Catch someone in Mumbai, tell them, why are you running? Why are you going? Where are you going? Wait, tell me, what are you doing? Why are you running? No, time me. But where are you going? So there is an illusion. It makes one think that unless I work so hard, I'll be in a big problem. So they forget the whole big purpose, the big picture of what life is meant for. That is to come out of the cycle of birth and death. And they're just busy there. So someone who's in the mode of goodness, he can see as it is that I'm going to live only 60, 70 years. But after that, what will happen? Will I take everything that I'm working so hard for? No. Like that. Yeah. So goodness leads to knowledge. Right? And there are many more characteristics which are described in the later chapters of Bhagavad Gita. There is a whole chapter called the 3 modes of material nature. In that, there are details given of every mode and its activities, its symptoms. Right? So, does that answer your question? Yes.
If the person is following the right path, then he will eventually lead to Krishna.
Yes.
One mode is then important.
Sorry?
This one mode will be important for that person.
The mode of goodness?
Yeah.
So, the working of these modes is how I'll explain. So, in this world, all the 3 modes influence everyone. I will be influenced sometimes by mode of passion, sometimes I'll be influenced by the mode of ignorance, and sometimes I'll be influenced by the mode of goodness. So later in the Bhagavad Gita, it is described that all these 3 modes, at one time, mode of passion will become prominent, and that we will see in ourselves only. That we are also very anxious, greedy, lusty, anger. All of these characteristics become visible, more prominent in us. At other times, we are in goodness and we feel, "Chalo, aaj thoda chanting karenge, mandir jayenge." That is goodness, right? Or I want to help someone out.
Someone can also not be just in goodness, just in passion, it's always a mix.
It's always a mix. And sometimes I may only be very lazy, want to sleep all the time. I don't feel like doing anything, very lethargic, very ignorant. That is ignorance. So all these 3 modes influence everyone. Sometimes passion becomes prominent, sometimes goodness becomes prominent, sometimes ignorance becomes prominent. The idea is to get free from all the influence of all these 3 modes. So that we can do gradually by coming to the mode of goodness, because at least in goodness we understand what is this world and we can see things in the right perspective. Right? Otherwise, in passion and ignorance, it's very difficult to even understand that I'm actually get under the influence of something. Because we are running all the time. So, or we are completely ignorant, we don't care, everything is bliss. Ignorance is bliss. We are kind of like that.
If you look at, I don't know, if you use paints, there are 3 primary colors, yellow, blue, and red, right? The mixtures of those result in so many hundreds of colors. So basically, it's goodness, passion, ignorance, but then there is always a mixture. And goodness, if you come to the level of if you try to maintain yourself in goodness as much as possible, that's almost like a springboard that helps you jump, on a spiritual platform. So people might be, like what you were saying, calm, knowledgeable, charitable, right? Trying to do good to others. So this forms a ground for them to receive knowledge. Whether they are really fortunate to receive that knowledge from a devotee is a question, right? That's depend on their fortune. But at least they're ready to receive some knowledge. That's the idea.
Also said that if we are doing bhakti, we should go to Shuddha Sattva, right? That's like the top
Yes.
most.
So influence, so we have to become free from all three modes means we have to go to Shuddha Sattva, which is pure goodness. So at that level, then there is no karmic reaction to anything, right? Otherwise, everything, even if we do good to other people, we are in the mode of goodness, that will get us some reaction, which will force us to take birth again in the material world, right? So in that sense, everything done in the modes is valor. Whether someone is in mode of goodness, passion, ignorance, these are all ropes. They bind us to the material world. Even goodness is a rope and binds us to the material world. So we have to get free from that also.
Like
It's a golden
iron, copper, and golden.
And they're like puppets in their hands, so they're just like a clear body for everything.
Golden rope का ये है कि वो थोड़ा ज्वेलरी जैसे दिखेगा तो.
On YouTube, there's a video Srila Prabhupada was leaving his body in the last few, in the last hour, and the instructions he gave was, please try and be in the mode of goodness as much as you can.
Oh.
That was his instruction, even in that hour of.
Where we have to reach out to goodness.
Pure goodness. Pure goodness. Shuddha Sattva.
Shuddha.
Sattva. Do you have any further questions?
Face has a lot of questions.
It's good. It's very nice because question is sign of intelligence. We are thinking so much. Very, very
All
good.
the sages who came to Sharon, so they are under this ignorance or they are not. They also ask for food, like they are connected to the material world, but they also do chanting and they are away from the people. They go far away and do meditation.
So activities may not determine whether they are in goodness, passion, ignorance. Because if you look at a devotee, he is also doing the same thing. He is also eating. Like person outside is also eating. But the difference is the devotee when he is eating, he is offering with love to Krishna and he eats it, and that is Krishna Prasad. And that is not a material activity. That's a spiritual activity. Although it's the same, but one's consciousness outside is I will eat this to enjoy my senses. Here, this consciousness is I eat this because it is prasad, it is offered to the Lord, and this will purify me. So the act is the same, but then there is a huge difference. Similarly, in the scriptures, you will see many such examples of kings who were literally kings ruling the whole kingdom, but they are pure devotees in Shuddha Sattva. They are not under the influence of any of the modes of material nature, although they are ruling the kingdom, like Maharaj Ambrish, right? Even Yudhishthir Maharaj. So they are kings and they are ruling, but they are pure devotees, so Rajarshis. So activities in itself may not determine, but it's the consciousness with which we act. Right? So Arjuna is fighting. That means is he in the mode of passion or ignorance? No, he's actually beyond the modes of material nature because he's fighting for the sake of Krishna. So therefore, we don't have to give up anything in the material world, whatever natural talents or skills we possess. But the idea is to use it in the service of the Lord and not for our own gratification. Right? That makes it pure and beyond the influence. Any other questions, thoughts? Okay, so we can discuss more after this session also. So we'll stop there. We'll have some people and then we'll stop. Prakash, you like to lead it?
Prabhupada Jivan Hare Krishna. Simple. हाँ करता